Hi everyone, in this tutorial we're gonna create this file upload form using Framer Forms plugin. Then we're gonna submit its content to a Google Sheet, as you see. Then we're going to retrieve that data to a CMS collection. You can see here we have a Google Sheets collection. Then we're gonna display that form data we have on a page, styling them as we like, adding also hover and lightbox effects to be able to see the whole submission, as you see. You can find the discount code for Framer Forms in the description below and the remix link for the starter file if you want to build with me. And let's get started. We have 3 pages. Home page is the one we're gonna place the form to. Info submitted is the page we're gonna redirect the user after submitting the form. And recent submissions is where we're gonna list the submitted files. Let's start by inserting the component. After creating an account at framerforms.com, link is in the description, you can insert the required components by using Framer Forms plugin. Since I already did that, I can open the plugin, click in New Form, then Single Page Form. Then we can see the form has been inserted, right? I can drag it into the content stack, right below under the existing stack, making sure recent submissions is at the very bottom. Let's edit the fields before getting into the styling of the form. I will remove the location field. We also need the file upload field, so I will open the plugin again, click Form Inputs, then select File Upload, close the plugin window, and making sure its label stack is selected, I will drag the file upload field to my form under email. Let's make all fields required for our example. So I will first select the input under the name, then holding Command or Control, I will select the inputs under email and the checkbox one, and select yes for the required toggle on the right panel. And since file upload has its required toggle on its component options, I will select it and make its required option yes also. We can also select any image file for the file types option to restrict the file type to image formats. Now we can start restyling our form, right? I will select text elements under the form stack and make their color lightest from my color styles. Then I will select the inputs and make their fill dark blue. It's alpha 50%. And I'll remove their borders. And for their focus effect, I will make their border light blue with 60% alpha. Again, we need to make those changes under its component options for the file upload component, selecting dark blue with 50% alpha for its fill color and removing its border. Then I will select name and email input boxes, make their color lightest, and placeholder also lightest, but with 60% alpha. Then I will select file upload input and make its color also lightest. And I'm gonna also make its icon color lightest. To style the submit button, I'll go to its component screen by clicking on link and replace all. Then while default variant is selected, I will click turquoise for its fill and make its alpha 30%. I will do the same for its pressed state. And for hover, I will select light green as fill color and make its alpha also 30%. Lastly, we need to set a page for redirect option to give users feedback, indicating that their data is submitted. So after going back and selecting the form stack, I will click redirect on the right panel and select info submitted as a redirect. Now that the restyling of the form is completed, we can get into sending the form submissions to a Google Sheet, right? So while the form stack is selected, I will click Send To and select Google Sheets. Now I can click input next to sheet to connect my Google account. After connecting, I can create a new sheet for the form submissions by just clicking add and naming the sheet. Let's say Framer Forms AI Art Submissions and click create. We can click the input box next to sheet where it says connected to see our empty sheet, right? Let's preview and test our form with some sample data. So I will enter some content that I generated with AI. I also selected the image and I'm gonna check terms and conditions checkbox and hit submit. Now we can see the redirect page, right? Since we haven't started retrieving data back to our site, recent submissions page is not going to have any content, right? So I will click home icon and continue entering some more sample data until I have 4 submissions in total. Actually, I realized the file upload label doesn't have the same color with our other labels. So I'm gonna fix it and make the gap of the form 32 to create more space between the input fields. So we can continue entering some sample data. We can check the Google Sheets document we've created and see the data of all submissions, right? Let's see how we can display those submissions on our site by retrieving data from the Sheets document we've seen. In order to do that, we're going to use Google Sheets plugin. As soon as we select it from the plugins list, it is going to ask what we want our new collection's name to be. I'll leave it as Google Sheets and click create. Then I will copy the URL of the sheet that have the form info and clicking next, we can preview the columns in the sheet and CMS field types to make sure they are paired correctly. These ones look okay since file column is set to type image also. We can click import from sheet 1 and it looks like we managed to receive data from that sheet document, right? To display that CMS content, I will go to recent submissions page I prepared. Clicking insert button at top, I'm gonna drag the Google Sheets and place the collection under recent submissions headline stack. It needs to be in the content stack, of course. Looks like we only have images and names, so we need to also include email and submission date, right? To include the other required info, I will duplicate the name text, making sure the one at the bottom is selected. I'm gonna rename it as email and on the right panel, click X next to its content, click content label, hovering over set variable, I will select email. Then I will duplicate the email text, rename the one at top as date. Again, clicking the X next to its content value, I will click the label content, set variable, date, and format. Now that we have all the data we need, we can start creating and styling our cards, right? I will select the image and make it with 280 and its height 250. Since it would be great for the users to be able to see the full image, I will add a lightbox effect by simply clicking the effects while the image is selected, of course, and select lightbox by only changing its backdrop color to our background from the styles. And also I'm gonna make its cursor pointer. Now we can test it and our lightbox effect is working, right? Actually, let's also add a hover effect to the image. So I will click effects one more time. Then I'm gonna select hover and leave it with its default settings. Let's test it. And a hover effect works, but I think it will look better if we wrap the image in a frame. So I'm gonna do that. Then I'm gonna make the image wrapper frame's border radius 8 pixels. Now we can test it again. And it is much better, right? Next, I'm going to select all the text elements we have here, and I'm gonna wrap them in a stack and rename it as text. Then I will make its layout direction vertical, make its align start, and select Google Sheet and also make its layout direction vertical. Then I will select text stack again, make its align start, and gap 2 pixels. Let's style the text elements. I will select the name, detach it from its style, make its font width semi-bold, and its size 20 pixels. Then I will select both date and email and make their opacities 0.8. Next I will select Google Sheets stack, add a dark blue fill with 20% alpha. Now we can add text stack and add some padding, 8 pixels for top, 24 for bottom and left ones. Actually, we can increase the alpha of background color of our card, right? Something like 40% looks okay to me. And of course, it needs to have 8 pixels of border radius. Now that our card design is completed, let's make Google Sheets stack a 2-column grid. Apparently its width needs to be fill and height should be fit. Then I will make its X gap 42 pixels and Y 82. And I think we've completed the styling of our CMS content, right? The card structure works well for each submission data that we're getting from Google Sheets to our CMS, and we've added even a lightbox feature to be able to see the whole artwork. As you see, it's really easy to submit form data to Google Sheets with Framer Forms plugin, again, which you can find the discount code in the description for. Then we retrieve the submitted data from Google Sheets to create a CMS collection, restyling and displaying on our site as we like. And that concludes our tutorial, which hopefully you liked. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe, turn the notifications on, check my other tutorials, and see you in the next one.